house lights. Thanks, team, for another great show. I'll see you all backstage.
This is Designed to Change, Backstage Conversations.
Okay, welcome backstage. This is Ruud Janssen, your host of the podcast. I'm here with Julie Wynne. And Julie, how do you feel right now that we're backstage?
I feel the same. Because as I mentioned to you, I have difficulty to understand the on stage and backstage. For me, everything would be a dialogue, and I try to bring my whole self in everything I do. Yeah. And therefore, authenticity is so important for me, and integrity. So I don't imagine to have two persona in the off stage and on stage and backstage. So I'm happy to continue with the different questions on anywhere. I like to exchange on a deeper level and also more connecting to oneself and not just the layer of the profession.
Yeah, I like that thinking, and I think one of the experiences that we're seeing right now, I think, is that the reconnection needs to happen more and more, right? I find that at events, the reason we did the onstage and the backstage, because sometimes people get nervous for the onstage part of it. Now with a podcast, it's very relaxed and different. I think in this environment, we're here in Basel on site, looking out at the Rhine in a building that is circular and I think attempting to connect the outside world to the inside world of the wonders of medicine. When you look back at your own career for a moment, right? Because in finding yourself and in having the attention and care and cognitive abilities that you have developed over the years, do you look back at your career? What were some of was there any like pivotal moment that changed your career trajectory, or where your purpose or your sense of purpose got shifted into a different direction? Or
yes, so lawyers often they are educated to think and focus on one specific pillar. Yeah. And I'm not like that. So I've always done a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. And it was, how do I reconcile everything in my profession? Because if not, it will be difficult for me to do everything I want. So I want to have a flow which brings together the personal and the professional life. Yeah. And not do work-life balance, but work-life integration. Yeah. And so I had all these different elements I wanted to pursue, so art, philanthropy, and help clients design impactful solutions. Mm-hmm. And so I started in private clients because it's where you have art and philanthropy in law firms. Mm-hmm. But then over time I realized for me it's not sufficient just to work on the giving. I mm-hmm. want also to involve the investing. How do you mobilize the wealth mm-hmm. of the clients? Mm-hmm. And then I wanted to mobilize their time, because the time is their main asset, so their work. Yeah. So how do you bring the impact into their daily professional life? Yeah. And from that, I thought I want to work on the industry of people driven by impact, and not just with the one sector, the philanthropists, for instance. Mm-hmm. And in Switzerland, there are not so many lawyers, or almost none, that do all of this. Okay. So I decided I wanted to learn from others who have done it before in other jurisdictions. Mm-hmm. So I asked my firm to do secondments in law firms in the UK. Mm-hmm. So I did 3 secondments in UK law firms. Mm-hmm. And one of which, Bates Wells, it was really my role model on thinking about my legal practice for impact, because there were a law firm completely dedicated to impact. Then there were the first B Corp law firm in the UK, and they support clients across all sectors, from charity, education, religious organization, social finance. And when I was there, I felt that's what I want to do in my profession in Switzerland, and I want to develop a department working on this. My previous firm didn't feel there was a business case to work on that, but I knew there was, so I decided to change firms. And since then, I've developed that practice on sustainable economy, where we advise the full spectrum of impact-driven players. And by working in this industry in a transversal way, it allows me also to help my clients connect with other stakeholders, the donors, the investees, the investors, the NGOs on the ground. And that's also where I see my role, helping them not on legal solution, but at the strategy level, and to understand the ecosystem.
I think that drive that you manifest there is, I think it's very inspiring to hear that, making a business case is part of getting something adopted, something you believe in, something that's your purpose and mission. It shifts your attention, but also your field of study where you want to go deeper, right? How often, and I wonder, because in our onstage part, you were talking about, the three different places in which you can apply those skill set. How often are you actually at the inception point of a new organization or a new NGO or a new structure? How often does that happen in your practice? Is that a regular thing, or is that something that's more occasional? Because I find it hard to, an organization doesn't start every day, so to say, right? It's kind of a unique moment in time, I would say.
Yes, luckily I have a few. So either we help establish, for instance, a foundation in Geneva for a multilateral organization. And for them, it's interesting to have another vehicle to be more agile with investors or donors. So I did that, for instance, for UNHCR, where I helped establish Switzerland for UNHCR, where I sit on the board for a few years. Then I often have also the case of US charities that want to have a European hub. And then in the past, they used to go to the UK, and now more and more Geneva is their favorite place, so that I help them establish from scratch the entity in Geneva. And then sometimes you have a larger foundation doing a spin-off, and that I did recently for two organizations in the environment. And there, what is really interesting is that you help them develop the full architecture of the house. So, what are the policies? How do you work with staff? And so that I really like, because I become like the general counsel outside the entity, and I really feel part of the team. And that's really powerful, because I understand well their needs, and while I can also support them along the way, I understand also the business needs at each point in time, so that I find it really interesting and impactful.
Yeah. Maybe last question that I didn't ask you to prepare, but if there's one event that you could go to that you've never been to, which one would that be?
Yes, I read recently the book Unreasonable Hospitality, and I wanted to go to the Welcome Conference about thinking the attention and the service. So this is the conference I would like to go. And because I also liked what I can learn from an industry I'm not in, and see the pattern which can be used in the rest. So for me, it's really important to be able to navigate between different sectors.
Yeah, I like how you have a very prompt answer, and you've done your research. It's like, I want to study a field that I'm less familiar with in order to see parallels and study the structure and the patterns, right? I think that's an obsession that we share with you. We're fortunate, like I mentioned before, to be able to see events in all sorts of sectors, whether it's sports or arts or philanthropy or NGOs or governmental organizations, and it's very inspiring to be able to work in all of these different spaces on an entity, on on a gathering, something that you are looking to implement in your organization, right? This ability to convene, to become a convener, I think is a very powerful thing. If people give you their time, like you've generously done today, you've come to Basel from Geneva. We're spending, time recording a podcast. After this, we're going to have a bite for lunch. I think the interest and attention you give to things, I want to thank you for that, because this is also precious to the people listening to this podcast. And we're going to keep track of how the changes and how we convene event design with law in Geneva this next month. Looking forward to the horizon of change and recalling our conversation a year from today, possibly many conversations in between, because podcasts are just the recorded version of a conversation. Many conversations can happen in between. Thank you so much for spending the time with us.
Thank you for the meaningful exchange. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
You've been hanging out backstage on Design to Change Designer Conversations. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe and share conversations online using hashtag Design to Change and hashtag Event Canvas. Want more thought-provoking content like this? Visit designtochange.online to purchase your copy of Design to Change, elevating your abilities to look and act beyond the now. Don't forget, it's more than just a book. Experience a hard copy, audio format, video format, and even augmented reality. Experience it in your style and format. Tune into our next episodes and hear from more designers and change makers. Until then, we look forward to our next conversation.